Biology of Meaning mini-series. Episode 4. Holism or Integrative Health. Clinical Practices, Limits, and Myths. Hello. Today we're going to demystify misclassified practices, distinguishing with surgical precision what belongs to holism, what to clinical integrative health, and what can only be used as a non-clinical complement, while preserving scientific, ethical, and professional rigor. But since the topic is profound, I invite you to watch video 5 for an expanded discussion. Let's begin. Not everything natural is clinical. Not everything energetic is integrative. And not everything holistic takes care of health. Today we're going to say something uncomfortable but necessary. Confusing holism with integrative health harms patients and degrades clinical practice. At Pharaoh, we don't mix beliefs with diagnoses. Integrative health is not an esoteric fare. Let's remember that holism is not clinical. It is a philosophical, spiritual, and experiential field. It does not require a biomedical diagnosis. It does not work with criteria of demonstrable clinical efficacy. It is not governed by healthcare responsibility. Integrative health, on the other hand, is clinical. It is a clinical scientific model that integrates biomedicine, clinical psychology, nursing, and traditional Chinese medicine with diagnosis. It maintains anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, ethics of care, and professional responsibility. Here is a key difference. Holism accompanies, but integrative health diagnoses, decides, and responds. Predominantly holistic practices that are not clinical. These do not constitute clinical acts, although they may have subjective value. Bach flower remedies, symbolic and emotional use. There is no diagnosis. There is no clinical indication. Hugging trees, numerology, natal charts, astrology, magnets without a medical framework, and meditations without prior clinical evaluation fall into this category. They present a risk when presented as a treatment replacing clinical evaluation. Holistic practices are shared with integrative health practices, depending on the framework of use, regulated or not. Here is the gray area that Pharaoh clarifies. We have therapeutic writing. Holistic, free emotional expression. Integrative, a narrative clinical tool, Jung, psychology, nursing. Yoga, Tai Chi or Qigong. Holistic, general well-being. Integrative, precise indication according to physical, energetic, and clinical state. Herbal medicine. Holistic, traditional use without control. Integrative, dosage, interactions, indications, and contraindications. Pharaoh's key, the clinical framework and the professional's training. Integrative clinical practices, that is, those that do belong to clinical practice when there is training and diagnosis. Acupuncture, acupressure, auriculotherapy, Chinese diet therapy. Used in clinically based mind-body interventions and in integrative nursing care. They require a Western diagnosis or a traditional Chinese medicine diagnosis. It is preferable to have both to avoid risks. Here it is necessary to conduct a risk assessment, follow-up, and there is always ethical and legal responsibility. The biomedical model either denies these practices or lumps them all together without distinguishing between clinical practice, symbolism, or pseudotherapy. The result: discrediting integrative health, academic confusion, editorial confusion, confusion among professionals, and harm to patients. What is Pharaoh doing here? Pharaoh defines, classifies, integrates without mixing, restores clinical dignity to integrative approaches. At Pharaoh, knowledge is not accumulated. It is organized for care. Pharaoh learning. Not everything alternative is clinical. And not everything clinical needs to be reductionist. Ethics lies in knowing how to distinguish. Invitation. If you are a healthcare professional and want to integrate without losing rigor, the Biology of Meaning Level 2 training and the clinical interview training are available to you. If you are a coach, biotherapist, or simply curious about health, the Biology of Meaning Level 2 training awaits you. Coach training in the Pharaoh method will be available very soon. At ECEL Pharaoh, we give you all the tools that no one else teaches. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Comment. Share this video to raise collective awareness. Learn more with the mini-series available on YouTube.